Hey Rugrats, what's going on? My name's Loganwaldo, and today I got a review for you of Luminescent Creatures by Ichiko Aoba. Renowned for a chamber folky, almost nature recording stylistic approach when it comes to making music, Ichiko is back in a big way with her first studio album release since the 2020's classic Windswept Dawn. And to that point, if we're talking best albums of a decade, you can't have that conversation without at least mentioning Windswept Dawn. In terms of pastoral beauty, agrarian tranquility, if you want to put it like that. There's not really another album listening experience quite like it. Putting that record on is almost like astral projecting to a field of swaying shafts of grain, something that is overwhelmingly at ease. Incredibly big shoes to fill for Luminescent Creatures here as the follow-up. And to that point, Luminescent Creatures does feel like a through-line continuation of that bucolic mindset, with a softness and tenderness almost akin to a music box, It's very delicate, but also a very meticulous approach to the craft. And because of that, we can see the arrangements on this thing sounding paradoxically sparse yet whole. Tracks such as Tower, or maybe even Flag, they waltz through their runtime, often on the back of a single instrument. And that's kind of all they need. I mean, hell, we have Cochlea on this thing, which is just the sound of wind chimes. We're talking a very minimalistic approach on the mindset of making this thing. And while I do really enjoy the listen of Luminescent Creatures, I just can't help but feel it pales a little bit in comparison to Windswept Dawn. I mean, that record, it's once in a lifetime. There's no other way to put it. It is lightning in the bottle. There's a spark to it, there's a magical tingle on the hairs of your arms every time you put it on. Your headphones are crackling with energy. It's supernatural in its ability to take the listener and transport them somewheres imaginal, somewheres elsewhere, somewheres that you've never seen before. It's a once-in-a-lifetime spark. So I think in contrast to that, my analogy for Luminescent Creatures would be a beautiful painting of a picture of lightning in a bottle. There's a masterful technique to the brushstroke. You can see the soft application of every bristle, the crackles in the paint as you get close, the way that the veneer of it all shines with the same radiance, but it just lacks the same force of nature that the real thing has, As hard as it tries, it'll always be an approximation of the simile of something greater than what it ever could be. And when you hear that, you might think it sounds harsh, but I don't think it'd be quite overstated how difficult it is to get lightning to strike twice, as the saying goes. I mean, this is a really admirable attempt of following up what is a contender for the best album of a decade so far. For example, as one of the highlights on this thing, the intro track, COLORATURA, it layers these beautiful orchestral movements on top of each other with the same push and pull as the water depicted on the album cover. The depth of mystery, of fantastical whimsy on this thing is just something that only Ichiko could possibly ever do. And another standout for me has to be Luciferine, with its enchanted forest-esque vibe. It almost feels like taking a stroll in a Studio Ghibli movie backdrop. It's just an incredibly cozy inclusion on this track list. And while there's not a single song on this track list that I actively dislike, there are moments on here where it's just not quite as gripping or quite as compelling as I know it could be, and with just a smidge bit more going on, really could have gone the extra mile into being something great. Nevertheless, I still think this is a good album, and now's the perfect time to get into it if you haven't listened to it. I think this is the ideal soundtrack for the changing of the seasons, at least where I live at the time of recording this, going into the peak of spring. And overall, while I'm still fighting a feeling of unmet expectations, I think that more so speaks to how much I enjoyed Ichiko's previous albums and what I set going into this, as opposed to Ichiko's ability and talent to make beautiful music. And with that, talking score, I'm thinking probably a strong 7 to a light 8 on this thing. Yeah, if you agree or disagree, drop a comment below letting me know, as well as if you want to see any future albums as a part of a review, or just content in general. I'm open to any ideas. While you're down there, I guess it's a YouTube video, so like and subscribe, and above all else, thanks for watching. Yeah, catch you in the next one. See you later. Say bye.